Hey Brianna, I'm Judy Williams. I'm so glad you're here today. I'm glad to meet you. We kind of went over some of the initial papers, the consent forms, and I was wondering if you had any questions about anything that we've gone over so far.
I don't want the fact that I'm here to affect the possible outcomes of me and my siblings because I really like to keep us together.
Okay, so you're afraid that maybe something that you say would alert me to have to maybe report you to child services? Is that what you're talking about?
I just want to make sure that if child services were to get involved in any way, that what's said here might not affect the outcome of.
Okay, I can't make any promises with that. I am going to do my best to keep your confidence. If I don't feel there's any abuse or neglect as far as so much that would harm the child, then I don't think we have anything to worry about. But I cannot make that promise. So we're going to try our hardest, and I'm on your side, and I want this to work out for you. So are you okay with that answer? Is that okay?
It makes sense.
Okay, very good. Now, I also wanted to restate the fact that this will be recorded and that my supervisor will have access to this information, so that will be a third party. We went over that with the consent, but I wanted to make sure that you're clear on that. Is that okay with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And one more thing, I'd like to also take a few notes if it's okay with you, because I'm a little older and have a tendency to maybe forget just a few little details, and I'd like to write them down in case we need to revisit them and go back to them. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Well, let's go ahead and get started then. And what brings you in today?
I'm very overwhelmed. I just feel like the world has fallen at my feet, and I'm trying my best to keep everything together, and it's getting to be too much for me.
And what's causing you to be overwhelmed?
Well, my mother passed away 2 years ago, and that's been really hard for me because we were so close, and it was unexpected, and those are like the toughest losses to take.
Oh, I can't imagine that.
And after that, my dad, there was a decline that I saw with my dad. He lost sense of where he was, and now he's decided to leave.
Oh, wow. And so that leaves what kind of situation?
Well, I'm 20, so I'm trying to pursue a degree, and I have 3 younger siblings, ages 13, 9, and 5.
Oh, gosh.
And so now I'm trying to figure out what should I do now.
Okay, so that you're coming to me, and we want to try to work together to figure out how you can not be so overwhelmed. And have you been feeling anxious and stressed?
Yes.
Also, okay. How is this affecting you as far as your health? Are you seeing any physical signs that you're stressed and overwhelmed?
I've been trying to make sure that my siblings are taken care of. I haven't really taken the time to really pay attention to me.
Okay, I that's usually how it is. Very, very good. Well, we're going to work on that. So let's just talk a little bit about maybe one big goal. We're going to do more specific goals as we go along, but just if you could just throw one goal out there off the top of your head, what would it be? What's your main concern?
My main concern. My biggest concern is with my siblings. I like to say with all of us, I want us to be together, but I'd also like stability with that.
Okay, and stability, what do you mean by stability?
Like, considering everything that's happened, it'd be nice to have just a sound support and kind of system.
Okay.
And I don't know how to get there.
Okay, support system. Now, financially, are you doing okay financially?
I work
Okay.
on top of school. It pays.
Wow.
It pays, but
Mhm.
it's tough.
Yes, I can imagine it's tough. So you're getting no outside financial help as of now. Okay, that is very tough. Well, let's go ahead and let's just talk a little bit about your story. Do you mind if I ask you some questions, some specific questions about things that are going on? And if at any time you feel uncomfortable, we can skirt over that and you don't have to answer it. So you just let me know if you're feeling uncomfortable. Because with your problem, Brianna, that you've presented to me, you've got so many layers. You've got death of a mom, you've got the abandonment of a dad, and then you've got these younger siblings you're trying to take care of. So that's a lot, a whole lot. So if maybe we can break it down and work on a little bit at a time and just progress through it, then maybe you won't feel so overwhelmed and we can come up with some solutions. Okay, so let me ask you, what happened to your mom?
Well, it's really tough.
Yes, I can imagine.
Well, you know, she was doing fine. Everything was good. And then this past November, she went to the doctor because she thought that she had some pain in her stomach. And the doctor said that it was pancreatic cancer.
Oh, wow, goodness.
Everything was fine, everything was normal, and then by that January she was gone. And it was just, it didn't give us any time to really cope, like even grasp the idea that she might be gone. One second she was there and there's this possibility, and then the next we were ready.
So you're the oldest, so while she was sick, did you take over some of the household chores and help around, or were you able to, being in school?
I moved back home because she was home and she was trying to do her best, but at the same time, you know, it took a toll on her. So I wanted to help, since all of my siblings are kind of young, you know. So I wanted to help her as much as I possibly could.
That's wonderful that you're willing to set aside your life for, you know, to help your mom and your siblings. I think that's a great strength in you, and that makes me happy that you would be willing to do that for your mom. And do you mind us talking about your dad just a little bit? I know that's probably very sensitive, and maybe if you could just give me in general how he reacted to the death of your mom, and why do you think he decided to move on or to leave? How do you think he was feeling at that time?
Like I said, it didn't give us enough time to grasp even the idea, the possibility that she could go before she was gone. It was a very hard time, and it just seemed like he was in denial, and then once he got to the depressive state, he was unable to really get out of it. And he just slowly started to kind of no longer be there. And I woke up one morning and he wasn't there anymore.
And so did he, and no signs, no notes, or
No.
it just took you by surprise?
Yes.
Yes, okay. That's hard. That's really hard. And I tell you what, I sympathize with you. I definitely do. So let me ask you, your siblings, how did they respond to this? First of all, I'm sure with your mom, they were just devastated, as you were. But let me ask you, how did they respond to your dad's leaving?
Well,
And you do have a younger brother that's 5, and a sister that's 9, and a sister that's 13. Is that correct?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's talk about, first of all, the 5-year-old, the little boy.
I mean, he's still trying to understand. It's hard to explain to a child that, you know, they've been abandoned. How do you approach that type of situation? So, he was just like, you know, where's Dad? Is Dad gonna check me in tonight? And I I think now he's starting to understand that, you know, he's not coming back. And the way that I tried to approach it was say, you know, Dad had to go somewhere, so that he could better support us, and that once everything is better, he'll be back. It might not be true, but I didn't want him to really feel abandoned.
Right. I agree with you that's really a hard thing to deal with a 5-year-old. You know, that just lost his mom and then his dad's gone. Now your 9-year-old sister and your 13-year-old sisters, how do they deal with this?
Well, they're completely aware of the situation. So it's kind of you can't really lie to them about that. So
That's right.
I'd say that my 13-year-old sister, Casey, she's taking it the best out of the two. I think her being older and her, it's close to her going to high school, so she's kind of getting to an age where she's level-headed. Of course, it's tough losing our mom because there's things that I feel like Mom would have been able to explain better.
Right.
But at the same time, it might not be as tough to try to talk to me about some things, because you know that kind of happens anyway. You talk to your siblings about things you don't want to talk to your mom about, but at the same time, like having that type of guidance and experience that Mom had, I don't have that yet.
Right.
I'm only 7 years older than her. I mean,
and that is overwhelming. It is. But it sounds that you and your siblings have a good relationship.
yes.
Have you always had a pretty good relationship?
Yes.
That's great. That's a big strength, and that's going to really help you in this situation. So the past 5 years have been going from a healthy family to a sick mom and her death to a daddy who's left. So these last 5 years have been really full of turmoil for all of you. But you're all coping the best that you can. Especially you. Now, so are you still in school? Are you still working toward your degree?
Well, that's what I'm starting to wonder about, because, like I said, I'm getting really overwhelmed, and I've already done part-time instead of a full-time student position, and it's getting really tough, and I'm trying to make sure that my family stays together. So it's do I pick finding a more sufficient job to take care of my siblings and be there for them, or do I try to do both and wear myself out in the process?
Yeah, those are very big concerns. But you have so many strengths, Brianna, that I see that, first of all, you love your family, and you don't seem very angry about your dad leaving. I know that you're confused and that you loved your mom and your dad, and you still love your dad. So it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of anger there, just maybe confusion and trying to sort things out. And so let's get to maybe a point where we can set a couple of goals. What I keep hearing you say is that you want your family to stay together, that is the most important thing. Is that correct?
Yes,
So would that be the first goal that we could set in this counseling session, a way that we could find that your family can stay together? Would that be a good goal, do you think?
ma'am.
Okay. So is there another goal that you would like to set? Maybe a personal goal. Can you think of one?
Maybe just learning how to adjust and be able to handle everything that's now on my plate.
And keep your sanity. I think those are two very good specific goals that are very doable. I think we can work together and come up with some solutions, and I think these are very doable. And I love that you seem very bright. You seem, that you are willing to work hard to make this
Yes, ma'am.
work, and that you're willing to sacrifice some things,
Yes,
in
ma'am.
order to keep your family together. So those are some big strengths you have. So let's, our specific goals, I'm going to restate them and let's see if we're on the same page. For you to keep your family together, and also for you to adjust and to be able to handle everything without staying overwhelmed all the time.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Now, how are we going to reach these goals? This is going to be something that you'll have to help me with, because I don't know your family's surroundings. I don't know your support group. I don't know the community that you're from. So let's brainstorm, or I would ask you to brainstorm, and I will write some things down that you say, and let's think about ways that you can, first of all, the first goal, ways that you can keep your family together. Think about your community, think about your extended family, think about resources that you have, and start giving me some of those. And they don't really have to make sense to you right now. If they just pop into your head, just say them, and then we can kind of flesh it out in a little while. So,
Okay. I have my grandma on my mom's side.
great.
She's still alive, and she was always very helpful and supportive.
Okay, very good. Okay, how about something else? Another resource or another family member or a friend?
I joined a church when I was at school,
Okay,
and there are a lot of different people there that they seem to know resources that might be able to help me.
very good. Good. Now, as far as your pastor, have you ever spoken to your pastor about anything that's going on in your family?
I mean, he came to my mom's funeral. He was there for us then, and I haven't been going as much now that my dad is left, because
Excuse me, I'm going to ask my secretary to get that. Sorry about that, Brianna. Go
Okay.
ahead, let's go ahead.
I've been having to pick up shifts at my job to make sure that I can maintain the type of living circumstances that we have. So I haven't really been able to confide in him when it comes to that.
Okay.
But I feel like if I were, then he'd try his best to help.
Okay, so we could say church group pastor. Has there been anybody in your church that has kind of stepped up and helped you maybe with cooking or toting the kids around or anything? Has there been anybody? Have you asked anybody for help?
Well, since the funeral, we've had a couple of women that'll bring, food,
Good.
and they'll ask if they could help pick up and drop off my little sisters and brother to school. So that's been really helpful.
So you've let them. You've accepted their help. Wonderful. That's a big help. And you trust these women.
Yes,
Very
ma'am.
good. Okay. Can you think of any other support? How about friends at school? Do you have any or friends that you've grown up with and their families?
I have one really close friend. We've known each other since we were 5, and she comes and visits when she can. She's in college as well, but she's
Same college that you go
no,
to?
ma'am.
Oh.
She went out of state, so it's
Okay.
more of a seasonal type of visitation, and
Yes.
we haven't had a break as of late. But when she heard about my mom, she texts to make sure I'm okay.
And it feels good, I'm sure, to have somebody keeping up with you to ask if you're okay. Because sometimes we can just focus so much on the problem, or maybe the younger ones because they're not able to do for themselves, and you kind of maybe feel left behind or lonesome or sad, and then you don't have anybody. So I'm glad you have a close friend. A couple more questions about this. Do your does your mom or your dad, do they have siblings that are helping or that have come around and offered anything?
Well, my dad was the only child,
Oh,
so
okay.
that wasn't. There aren't anything.
There aren't. How about his mom and dad? Are they still living?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, and how about your mom? Does she have any siblings?
She does. She has a younger sister.
Okay.
She's also out of state. But she did come to the funeral, and from what I've heard about her, her and my mom were close at some point. They became estranged, but there wasn't any like true malice in between. Where it just kind of situations got in the way of things.
Just drifted apart, it seems like. Okay. Would you consider making her a resource in any way? Would you consider depending on her in any way, or is she just out of the picture altogether?
I don't know.
Would it be worth extending kind of that olive branch, or extending, contacting her and kind of feeling her out to see if she could be a resource for you?
I don't see that being a bad idea.
Okay, good deal. So, okay, you have a start of a support group. Your maternal grandmother, especially, she's been very helpful and supportive, so she would be really a good person to rely on. How old is she? Is she very elderly? Is she in good health?
She's in good health.
Good health, very good. Okay. Okay, so we have, as far as staying together, why would you have the fear? You would be considered, you're not a minor. You would be considered able to take care of your brothers and sisters.
Yes, ma'am.
So as far as staying together, what is your biggest fear there? Just that you could not take care of them and that they would be removed from the home? Is
Yes,
that?
ma'am.
That's a fear, okay. So we need to make sure that you have the resources in place so that doesn't happen. And that's a good action plan for you, and we're going to continue to work on that. So let's go ahead and look at the second goal. The second goal would be learning how to adjust to be able to handle everything. If you're not healthy, then you're not going to be able to take care of your siblings. So let's brainstorm just a few things of how you can take care of yourself. How you can, and I know, being a mom myself, as far as finding time for myself, it's very hard. So I can't even imagine the struggles that you're going through to try to take care of these siblings, take care of yourself, think about a career, think about school. That's a lot. That's a lot. So we're going to try to just, like I said, break it down step by step and see what we can do. Your second goal, learning how to adjust. What are some ways that you can think of that you could kind of tend to yourself a little bit? Do you think it's going to be, is it possible for you to stay in school while you're taking on the responsibility of these siblings? First of all, do you want to stay in school?
I'd like to still work on graduating.
Okay. Okay. And that seems to be a real goal of yours, and it also seems to be something you're doing for yourself. And so how can you, Brianna, stay in school while you're taking on all of these other responsibilities? What are some alternatives to maybe going full-time?
I guess I could possibly stay part-time, but to kind of help with being at home. Like I said, the oldest little sister that I have, she's doing really well with coping. So maybe she could help with our younger siblings
Mhm.
with like the homework and
Mhm.
making sure that we have we just basically helping each other out
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
things around the house.
Sounds like you two make a good team, that you really do. What about just maybe going online and doing an online class, one or two a semester, so that you could still be there present, but yet you're still doing something for yourself and protecting your future?
I didn't even think about that. I guess I could look into it to see if there is a online track for what I want to do and try to apply or transition myself to that.
Great, great. So that would be one action plan that you could start looking into now. Also, what idea that we've talked about, what is the most appealing idea as far as you being able to progress and to work through this? What is the most appealing thing that you've said, or the thing that makes the most sense to you that you've said during this session? What is something that you're thinking, I'm going to go ahead and get onto that right now. I'm going to start working toward that.
I guess reaching out and trying to find more support.
Good. Great. Yes. You need to find more support. We all need support. Even if we're not put in the predicament that you've been put into, we still need support. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start closing up the session, Brianna. I want you to